You know something? I absolutely love this car right here. This is the first car I ever bought to rebuild, Ford Fiesta ST. And it's so much fun, yet it's so simple. So I bought another car similar to it, although I have a feeling it's not as simple. You see that in the distance over there? Here, let me get a little closer. No, not the blue Jaguar. You see that? There's something behind the blue Jaguar, even further in the distance, something I've teased a few times. But no more hinting. Today is the day I'm finally gonna show you guys my 2017 Ford Focus RS. So it's really only 3/4 of a Focus RS, but I paid way less than half off. While we're in there fixing it, we'll be able to upgrade some of the stock parts that are damaged with aftermarket performance upgrades, making this the ultimate Focus RS project car. Now you guys know I buy all of my project cars from Copart. From a Focus RS to a Ferrari 488, power sports and motorboats, donated cars with clean titles, Copart has a little bit of everything for everyone. Auctions are held pretty much every weekday, and I've won cars for as little as $525. You remember which one, right?
Sold!
So if you're looking for your very own project car, maybe just a cheap daily driver, be sure to head over to Copart using my link in the description box below. Now, as you can see, this car sustained pretty heavy front-end damage, and being that it's an RS, the parts are substantially more expensive than any other Focus, even including the ST models. So when this car was delivered, I really crossed my fingers and hoped that there were some spare parts left over in the hatch that would be salvageable. And to my luck, there were some spare parts left over. But the salvageable part, well, let me take you back to when the car was delivered and I'll show you exactly what I found. It's obviously part of the front bumper, part of the lip spoiler, diffuser, whatever they call it. This thing is in pieces. The dealership charges you a core charge on a piece like this. So you have to return, even if I just bring them this section of the bumper and say, here you go, they'll give me my $75 core charge back. So that's why, even though this looks like total trash, you don't want to throw this away. This is clearly the under skid tray panel. Again, fasteners all in this thing, and part numbers are helpful too. This is potentially something that will cost some money. Obviously your hood prop rod, don't want to throw that away, with a piece of broken bumper attached to it. This is an Aeros universal remote. I think that has nothing to do with the car. All right, more bumper. Oh, there's oil all over this bumper too. That's not good. I don't like oil on parts, especially that were thrown inside the car. Oh, there we go. Caught it. This is a HID headlamp, and it is just in absolute pieces. And while I do have a ballast there, and that's definitely worth some money and probably something I'll need when I buy a used part, these things retail for over $1,000 a piece bare. That means without the bulb. All right, more of the guy's personal stuff. A lot of that in here. He must have really liked Jolly Ranchers, because there's a ton of Jolly Rancher wrappers in here. Fog light right here, also no good anymore. This looks like one of the wind deflectors that goes behind the bumper, or it's the thing that sits on top of the bumper and is just basically your cover over your radiator. So completely smashed. Here you go, here's your HID bulb right here. There's your HID projector. So this was in the front seat, and it's really good when you see an envelope, because it usually means maybe there's a manual in there or a spare key. There's just a bunch of junk receipts. A lot of junk in this one. So here's a feed bag worth the trash that I've cleared out of the Focus. It's looking obviously a whole lot better. But I thought I was done, and there's still, that's my piece of paperwork there, but there's still like candy everywhere. And oh, this one's even hard and sticky and stuck in there. That's disgusting. We go under here, look at all this candy. Come on, bro. A bunch of trash underneath this seat and that seat over there. But look what I just found. This is hysterical. This is really funny. I found a toy cow, or this is some sort of Pokemon. But that's funny because look at these guys out here. What a coincidence. This guy likes cows and I like cows. So all the parts, all the papers, everything's been cleared out. We've got pretty much a full all stock bag right here. Out of this mess of parts, there's not really much good news in it. The only thing that's reusable are fasteners. Pieces like this right here, the piece that you open and close the hood with, are likely reusable, and stuff like that is like 12, 20 bucks at a dealership. So again, we don't want to throw that away quite yet. This headlight I thought was kind of promising. However, the lens is a little scraped, not too bad, nothing we couldn't fix. In the edge right here, it's all scraped up. So I'm gonna see if I can't get another one of these. Again, they sell for so much, even used, that hopefully I'll be able to find something just to replace that. I showed you some of the oil that was, on the bumper and stuff in the trunk. Nothing got on the trunk liner mat here, which is really good. I mean, motor oil on fabric is a disaster. And even this right here, which is the cargo cover, that goes on top of here. It's even clean. Someone put that down before they put all the parts on it, so that's good. Things tend to get worse before they get better, right? Well, I hope that's the mantra for this car, because the next check I did was of the dipstick, which was completely bone dry. I went and I put 5 quarts of oil. That's how much it took to get the levels back up, so there was nothing left. And I went to start it up. That also didn't work. At this point, I'm pretty freaked out that I might have just bought a very expensive paperweight, but there is one more check we can do to see if this engine is any good. Let me grab a helper, let me grab a chain, and let's drag this car into the barn and get to work. Another car back in the barn, especially a Focus RS, gets me really excited. So this is what we just took off the car. That is the front upper cross support, cross member, whatever you want to call it. And like I said about not throwing parts away, do you see that right there? That is a front crash sensor. There's actually one right there. There's one on the other side down there. Those are fairly expensive. There's also the closing mechanism for the hood latch. And that is probably all going to be redone. It likely was bent. When those get bent in the accident, sometimes the hood won't stay still. Just a better idea to replace it. But so I can actually get some sleep tonight, what I want to do is find out whether this engine has a major issue or whether it's likely going to be good. Now, this is not a surefire thing, but this is a transverse mounted engine, and down here is going to be where you see all of our pulleys and everything like that. The harmonic balancer can be found right behind this pulley all the way back here. Pretty difficult to see. I took the windshield washer reservoir out here so you have a clear view of the harmonic balancer, which is right here. I have a torque wrench right here, which is not the correct tool. We should be using a breaker bar, but it's what I got close by. Basically, we want to turn this clockwise and see how the harmonic balancer is moving. If there was any oil starvation in this engine, this wouldn't be smooth and it would likely be completely locked up. The pistons wouldn't move up and down like they are right now with me manually turning the engine over by hand. So this is a really good sign that things are still operating properly. There's a little bit of resistance, which is a good sign. That's because our spark plugs are still installed and it feels pretty normal. We just have another issue lying somewhere that's not allowing us to turn this engine over. Right now, a mechanic would diagnose this car as a crank no start. That's because when you hit the push to start button, it cranks, but the car doesn't start. So a car needs a few things to start. It needs fuel, which it has a little bit of fuel in the tank, so we're good there. It needs spark. With only 7,000 miles, I have a feeling that these spark plugs, wires, and everything are just fine. There's obviously no issue with the wiring harness here or anything. It needs electricity. This battery's good. And like I said, the car is attempting to start, so we know the problem is nowhere in the ignition system. The other thing that could cause the car not to start is removed harnesses. Now this goes to one of the crash sensors. That shouldn't prohibit a car from starting. There's a bunch of undone ones here that go to the windshield washer reservoir. Again, that wouldn't cause a car not to start. But in an accident, a lot of these wires can get pinched. Sometimes they can break, and that would cause the car not to start. In this case, everything here looks really good. I did remove the MAF. That's another one that would make the car run funny, but it shouldn't prohibit it from starting. So the last thing a car really needs to start is air, and that's where I suspect our issue is. Right here is an intercooler, right here is an air intake, the two main sources of air for this car. Now while the air intake looks shifted from the accident, it's not kinked here or anything. It looks like it's in pretty good shape, and it's even really solid. In the accident with my Fiesta ST, this tube had cracked, and that would cause a problem. Now if we look down here where the intercooler connects via piping to the engine and the turbo system, we see right there, there's an intercooler pipe that is completely kinked. That would easily prohibit air from getting in where it needs to go and stopping the engine from starting. From the driver's side of the intercooler, it's still tough to see if anything is kinked, but we definitely need to get this intercooler off and attempt then. But even with the intercooler off, there's going to be a major boost leak, which will cause the car to run funny and likely die. But we should at least be able to get it to start. So it's time to get to work. In the next episode, I'll be tearing down the complete front end of the Focus RS. We're going to assess what's damaged. I do see a little bit of framework that's going to have to be worked on professionally. And then we'll order up these new parts. In the meantime, try and get this thing running so we know that we're dumping thousands of dollars into a car that's going to be a successful rebuild project. So guys, if you're as excited as I am for the Focus RS, be sure to hit that like button. I've wanted one of these cars since they've been released. I didn't want to spend $45,000 on one. Hopefully we'll be able to make it out for less than half of that. With only 7,000 miles on the clock when it's done, it should be like brand new. And hey, it's even eligible for the Ford head gasket repair. But I don't think they'll accept it for repair looking like this. So until next time guys, thanks a lot for watching and I will catch you very soon.